Welcome to the AI show. I'm Scott. Hey, listen, AI news moves fast and we're all experiencing that right now. It's drastically reshaping the world. We get it. It's confusing, but I'm here to separate the signal from the noise, talk about where AI technology is going and bringing value, whether it's just like smoke and mirrors or a pump and dump. Today, we're going to look at the headlines and see if we can make sense of them and what bigger trends might be behind them. So we just talked about Claude and that people are starting to see how an agent can help them in their everyday life. But is Claude enough? Well, I think there's a lot more to talk about. I have seen a lot of gossip about new AI wearables, pins, necklaces, pens, watches, that sort of thing. But here's a couple headlines. Let's look at them. AI's next battleground is your body. Tech giants are betting that we are finally ready to invite a persistent digital device into our lives. OpenAI just gave a big clue to what its secret consumer hardware product will be. And OpenAI is on track to announce its first device in the second half of the year. Of course, these are all, rumor articles and that type of thing. But we've seen these fail before or have challenges in the past, like the Humane Pin had a lot of bad press. Like Humane's AI pin failed because it ignored what was already in our pockets, in other words, like your phone, etc. Is that really why it failed? We can talk about that. But there's Google Glass from a long time ago. Now there's actually some success in like Meta glasses and that type of thing. So I think the whole category of wearables shouldn't be written off, but like there's still a lot more developed that needs to happen there. Why are companies creating these and releasing AI wearable products? Well, let me tell you a story. So Google, this is a product that many people know and love. They have searched on it most of their lives, and people think of it as something that you would go and type text into, hit enter, and then it will bring you to 10 blue links, and then that's your gateway to the world. But actually, that typing is not the only interface to Google. Over 30% of Google searches are done through voice, and this isn't a point about voice, it's just a point about different modalities. And when you're out and about, when you're in the world, it's not the most convenient thing to have to pull up a screen, look at it, type onto a tiny keyboard or that type of thing. You want like hands-free, heads up, roaming around the world. And when that's the case, which is actually most of our time as humans, then you want an interface. This is the idea behind all of this. You'd like an interface that allows you to interface with technology. And this is where people are thinking about pins, watches, necklaces, glasses, that type of thing. And voice is key in that, but also like the Humane Pin had a screen that you projected onto your hand. So it didn't actually have a screen, but then your hand was a screen, and then you like press your hand as buttons and add sensors and stuff. Obviously that didn't work out all that well so far, but people are getting creative in this way. And that 30% voice search number is really important, because think if you're a company like Google and you have an idea that, wait a minute, like people want to be searching out and about in the world, and maybe the voice searches haven't been built by any of your competitors yet, like voice entry into searching, but you're like, yeah, this is an attack vector though. If people get voice right, if Bing gets voice right, if Microsoft gets voice right, they could come take over our market, because people are just out and about and they're talking to their phone, their laptop, their car, whatever, and doing voice searches that way. And then Microsoft gets all the ad revenue and everything. And so this is a big threat to Google's business. And so when all of these companies now, like Meta, like others, are looking around, this is what they're thinking about. They're like, hey, I've got all my different properties, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. I've got my Google search. I've got, I'm trying to build up Gemini, all these things. And so now they're like, how do I get people to use them every moment of their life? And sure, you can get them to use it when they're on a laptop. Sure, you can get them to use it when the screen is in front of them and they're using their phone. But then how do I get it when they have their earbuds in, when they have their headphones on, when they're just looking at their watch, etc., that type of thing. So this is why wearables are also becoming really important for these big companies, but also why it's a competitive threat to them. So it isn't just a market that they want to go out and get. Yes, they want that, but it also is a threat where somebody will come and attack them. So they have to do some puffery and say like they're developing all these things, and then go out in the world and try and take that market. So why haven't any of these products been successful up till now? And sure, there's been some marginal successes around the edges, but it isn't like people are everywhere around using these wearables at every moment yet. But one of the biggest problems is just that the technology wasn't ready, and that's true up until the last couple of years. The technology wasn't ready, but there are many technological developments that the technology actually is ready. Like the constituent parts are there, the first principles are there. You could build it, but it takes a long product development cycle to figure out what people actually like, what they want, and then you're meshing that product development with trying to get them to change their behavior, because over the last 30 years, everybody who interacted with the internet, computers, etc., that type of thing, they did it through clicking buttons, through going to a screen and tapping on it, or using a mouse in order to control something on a screen. So now you actually have to change that behavior pattern to something that's much more human-like, which, like, for a human, we don't have buttons and screens and that type of thing. Instead, you look in the direction, then you talk to the person, right? Well, you have to sort of you have to reprogram humans in their interaction with technology to then be more human-like, like that. And well, so for that to happen, then the interactions have to be more human-like, and that meant that the technology had to get better. So it's all these things are sort of working together, but right now, actually, everything is starting to get good enough. The product development cycles are actually happening. Sure, things are starting up and failing, but then there are others that are getting more successful, and then other companies and product builders are seeing that success, and then they're building on it. And so now in a fairly short period of time, you're going to start to see wearables get really good. There's another first principles piece to this, which is batteries are getting lighter. Processors are getting smaller. They're using less energy or giving off less heat, etc. You don't want to wear glasses that weigh 5 pounds and give off 1,000 watts and heat up your head. Like, that's crazy, right? So you need something that burns like a watt or something like that, and it needs to have a big enough battery to be able to support that compute burn of the energy. But you don't want it to be too heavy, so you have to wait for all these things to kind of come along. So it's model technology, it's sensor technology, yes, but then it's also like battery power, computing technology, et cetera, and they're all kind of coming together right now at the same time. And then the product development just has to happen. So yeah, you're going to see some crash and burns, you're going to see a whole bunch of things start up, but then, you're going to see some successes too. And then everybody a couple of years after that will say, well, yeah, duh, we all knew this was going to be successful. So right now you might be thinking like, hey, I don't know how I'm going to use this in my everyday life, but are there other uses out there in the world? Like, say you work at a factory, you're on the factory floor, and it's your job to QA and go around and make sure the machines are running the right way, or that the pile of I used to work in a shopping cart wheel factory, like the pile of shopping cart wheels, isn't getting too high over here or too low over there, or it isn't jammed running down the chute or something like that. So humans have to walk around and do all of this, but if you're wearing glasses or if you have devices on you, then they could already be getting this data and then notifying you about it, or helping you do your job, put it together this way, that way, etc., that type of thing. Oh, you forgot to put this piece in, that type of thing. So there actually is there are a lot of use cases in factories. There's a lot of use cases in like pick and pull, like shipping, warehouses, Amazon warehouse, that type of thing. For people to use these wearable devices, and they want to be heads up and hands free. They're carrying around boxes or grabbing this, etc. They just want to say like, oh, pick this thing, grab that, boom, is that the right one? Yeah, read back the number, etc. So these wearables there's still more development that needs to go for them to be useful to just your average everyday consumer, but they're actually already being deployed in across factory floors and warehouses in the US, and expect to see more and more of that too. So I just want to summarize here. Why are companies creating and releasing AI wearable products right now? Well, they're trying to protect their market share. They're trying to capture new market. And guess what? All the tech is here now, like from first principles. Actually, you can make these things now. But there still is a product issue. And it's going to take time for all of this to ferment and to get all of the development going. There has already been a curve of miniaturization and things getting smaller. That is okay, but now we need time for things to develop. So, guess what? Evolution and scientific discovery and building of products and everything, it's all wasteful from the outside. When you look back, you think like, man, all of this had to happen in order to get that small thing developed. But that is just how it works. This is how the evolution of these products are built. In just evolution in general, this is how it works. And but we're in the middle of that right now. But there's some good quotes on this, like Mother Nature's only tool is death, or science progresses one funeral at a time. So you know what? Companies starting up, products dying, et cetera, that type of thing. Hey, it's just all part of it. But there will be new great products that come out of it in the next few years. And, hey, this is crazy, right? We get to live through this. We're living through this moment where all those things that suck to do, half of it will be done with an always-on assistant that is like being born right now. And we're going to witness a wearable revolution. It's happening in the next few years, and it's all being created right before our eyes. But I want to know, what do you think about all of this? Would you use an AI agent interface like in your work or daily life right now? Or maybe you wouldn't right now. What about a year from now, when they become safer, when they've been worked on? Are there any features that are particularly good or useful that you're excited about? Or am I just wrong about this? Are wearables not going anywhere? Are these agents, just going to be totally useless? I'd love to hear it. Hey, you've watched this far in the video. Clearly you're curious about AI. I want to know, what am I getting wrong? Just take a moment to respond with your opinions below. Add any links that I might need to help understand your perspective. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks everybody for tuning into the AI show. I'm your host, Scott. And listen, don't you dare like and subscribe. Don't even think about it, okay? I'll see you next time.